We're back. How about it? What's going on, everybody? Dan Mathews and Matt Maltepes. It is Dan Mathews and the Animals. Of course, you know I'm not the animal. This guy right here, he is the animal. And as promised, I mean, we told you we would be giving you a preview of the college football playoff. Well, we're going to do that here in this episode. But off the top here, though, Matt, I want to share a conversation me and you were having before we hit the air for this one. And, maybe some of you said, yeah, hey, I'd like the Orange Bowl. I would like the Cotton Bowl. I'd like the Peach Bowl, just your plays on that. I mean, we were talking about as we do this on a Friday, right before the Clemson and Kentucky game. I don't even know what bowl game they are in. I know that the old Sun Bowl is Notre Dame and Oregon State. I mean, it's one of those things that you can play them. I play them. I mean, I still do. It's basically a crapshoot at this point in terms of what you're playing. I mean, I would say that bowl games now are kind of like betting on regular season Major League Baseball or even the NBA as well, because you might put in action and then, oh, hey, let's just say the Clippers are sitting Kawhi Leonard for that game. So all of a sudden the game and the action is going to completely flip. We know who's going to play. We think we know who's going to play in a certain amount of these games, but it really boils down to, does a team really care about being there?
Yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, does the team really care? Did they have high expectations going into the season? Now they're let down, let's say, and they didn't get to where they were going, and now they're just giving up. So sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have, players like you talked about, sometimes they're last second, they're not going to be in the game. You didn't know that was going to happen. It's just these bowl games are very, very hard to navigate sometimes. Sometimes you have a big edge, and sometimes you just don't.
Yep, no, absolutely. And that is one of those where it's the ultimate good luck. Hopefully it works out for you. Like last night, for example, I had the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Kansas State and NC State. I took the over, and Kansas State had the opportunity to be able to kick a field goal there, and it would have kicked the over, but they decided to go for it on fourth down. They got the first down, and with 49 seconds left, they said, let's do what Mario Cristobal does not like to do. Let's take a knee, and they did, and 47 is the number, so that one, there you go. I mean, that just kind of shows you what bowl games are right there. All right, let's get to the games that are afoot for the college football playoff. We got two. As next year at this time, we will be coming to you a lot earlier because we'll be talking quarterfinals, we'll be talking semifinals, and then we'll be talking the finals of the college football playoff. So you have that to look forward to next year as 12 teams for now. I mean, let's be honest here. It'll only continue to grow over the years. Soon enough, it will be 16. And then we'll have what people have always wanted, where I would have to believe at that point, you shrink the regular season unless you really want these guys basically playing an NFL schedule. But money talks. And if it gets to that point, then I'm sure they'll probably worry about it then. But let's start it off. The first game that we are going to be seeing tomorrow is going to be the Rose Bowl. Probably both of these matchups have a ton of intrigue in them, Matt. And with this one, I mean, it's interesting. It is the team that has experience in games like this, Alabama. Missed out on the college football playoff last year, but they are back in. They are a 2-point dog to Michigan in this one. I know your dad, the Philly Godfather, is not a Bama believer, but for this one, Bama, at least right now from the shop that I looked at, plus 108 on the money line, and the over-under is a pretty small number. They're not expecting a ton of offense in this one tomorrow, 44.5, but if history tells you anything, though, offense shows up at the Rose Bowl. And, it's one of those things that I just threw that out there because, it's always been a really weird venue in terms of trends, not necessarily being followed in this one. But, I mean, I think you see a Bama team that is more of the old school of what they were in the early 2010s when they were a strong running attack. Looks like Jace McClellan's going to be good for this one, but also, too, I mean, you see what Jalen Milroe can bring from that part of his game, and also, too, what Michigan likes to bring with Blake Corum and the running attack that Jim Harbaugh likes to employ for this one. Like I said, Michigan, a 2-point favorite. Bama plus 108 on the money line, and also the over under 44.5. Are you following your dad on this? Are you feeling it's going to be go blue instead of roll tide roll?
So he has Michigan. He has Michigan futures from the beginning of the year. So he's definitely rooting for Michigan here. But the way I see it, I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to navigate. These are two of the top best teams. Michigan all year long. They obviously haven't had the hardest schedule. It's been pretty easy compared to Alabama's. But, I mean, they've cruised. They've just dominated the competition game in and game out. They're one of the best teams in margin of victory. They have one of the best defenses by far, and they just ground and pound it all the way down your throat. And we saw Alabama last week. Alabama-Georgia game, not last week, but last game. Right. I mean, that game had a final score of 27-23, accumulating a total of 15 points. When we compare Georgia and Michigan, Georgia actually passes the ball compared to Michigan. Michigan does, what they do is they pound the ball on the ground, the same as Alabama. And with that said, time's going to run off the clock. And then when you factor in that Michigan is the second slowest team in the nation in seconds per play, to me, I'm liking an under here, under 45. Both defenses top notch. Michigan ranks near the top in almost every category on defense. I also think Michigan's more equipped to stop Alabama's run game than Georgia was. So I'm liking the under here, 45.
Yeah, under. I mean, as you said, some shops have it at 45. The one that I looked at had it at 44.5. I mean, for everything you just said right there is sound logic. I mean, both of these teams are going to want to establish the run. It's also, too, I mean, when it's such a closely contested game like this, I mean, I go to what is next, and that is the third phase, and that is special teams. And I feel like the edge is Alabama there. I really do. I feel like that is something that they have been able to use at times this season. Will Riker is a very good place kicker for them. He can make some huge kicks for them. So, if it comes down to that, I mean, I think in terms of that, I lean Bama in that regard. And it's just also too, I really could see this being a game that we've seen Bama play in a lot in the past, and that is maybe they're trailing at the half. Maybe Michigan has the early lead in terms of getting on them by 7-10 points, something like that, and then you're able to see Bama storm back. But I think that if it gets more than that, then they could be in some significant trouble in this one. But, I mean, you like the under. I like Bama plus 2. I really do. I think that this is going to be one that this is a team that very much is on a mission in terms of not only trying to get back to this point, but also try to move on. And I think they want Texas in the worst way, if indeed Texas moves on for the next one, which we will talk about right now in the Sugar Bowl. The Longhorns are a 4-point favorite for this one, but the money line is giving you good value on Washington, which I don't think is a bad play in that regard. Like I said, that 150 to 180 number right there, if you can get it like that, I really like that play. And then also, too, the over-under for this one, expecting a lot more points in New Orleans for this game. 63 is how they are seeing it. How are you seeing it?
So we have futures on Texas from the beginning of the year, so we're happy about that. But, I mean, if I had to make a move on this game, if I was someone that didn't have a future, right, and I was just looking specifically at this game, I like Texas minus 3.5. I like Texas minus 4, minus 4.5. Texas top 10 team in the nation in interceptions per game. This is going to be the best team Michael Penix has, faced by far, in my opinion. It's not even close. It's the only team. Texas is the only team to beat another college football playoff team already. That was Alabama. They beat them by 10 in Alabama. And actually, the crazy part is they missed a field goal, should have won by 13. Washington's sack percentage among the lowest in the country. That doesn't fly against the better competition. It flies when, you're versing that lower competition in their conference in those games. But, I mean, I don't think Washington has run defense to stop this offensive run game of Texas either. So I really do think Texas is the move here.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, too, a team that comes in that is incredibly physical. Both of these teams play a physical brand of football. I mean, I know that people look at the Pac-12 and say, come on, how physical are they? But that's what Kalen DeBoer really likes to predicate his teams on. And, I heard this, and I'm trying to remember the amount of mobile quarterbacks that Texas has seen this year, but Penix is a throw-first guy. Let's not get this twisted. He is a guy that will try to find his receivers down the field, and he's been able to do that as well. And I mean, I think that's huge for everything that you mentioned about the turnover factor. Does that come into play here too? Because Texas, you're right, they have shown with Pete Kwiatkowski's defense that they've been able to get teams to turn the football over. And I think if that's the case, then yeah, I mean, you really like Texas in this one. So we'll see how it all shakes out tomorrow for these games. Just to go back over the plays, you like the under in the Rose Bowl. I got it at 44.5. You're saying some shops have it at 45. I also like Bama +2 in that one and in this one as well. Texas -4. Some might have it 4.5, 5. Who knows? But that's the way that we like this game to go this weekend. Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing to add right there. I just wanted to add this, that when you look at Washington's schedule, I mean, look at all the close games they've had, the one-score games in a row. We've had Arizona, one-score game, Oregon, one-score game, Arizona State, that was 8 points, so technically one-score game, right? USC was a 10-point game, a little bit different, but Utah, again, one-score game. Oregon State, they only won by 2 points. Washington State only won by 3 points. Oregon, again, only won by 3 points. It's not like they're setting themselves apart from the competition, and when you're versing a team like this that is of a top caliber and top potential and really battle-tested team this year, it's hard for me to see them beating Texas.
Yeah, no, and I mean, it's going to be an overwhelming Texas crowd for that one. And, you know, the added motivation as well is if Texas wins this, they're in their backyard. They're playing in Houston for the national championship game. So there's going to be a lot of burnt orange and white in the building tomorrow in New Orleans. And if they win this one, I mean, tons of Texas alumni that already live in the Houston area. So that's an easy trip for them. Those who still live in Austin, it's not far. Any other parts of the state, it's an easy game to be able to get to. So there are a lot of motivating factors for Texas in this one. So we've given you the plays. Good luck, everybody. Hopefully you had a very Merry Christmas and a happy holidays. And also, too, from us here, me, Dan Mathews, him, the animal, Matt Maltepes. Happy New Year, everybody, because next time we talk to you, it'll be 2024 just next week. So good luck this weekend, everybody. I'm Dan Mathews. He's Matt Maltepes. This has been episode 30 of Dan Mathews and the Animals. Like I said, good luck, everybody.